Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Shri Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagwatam, first canto, chapter 13, text number 46. Kala karma gunadhino deho yam pancha bhautikaha katham anyam suto gopaye sarpagrasto yatha param. Kala karma gunadhino deho yam pancha bhautikaha katham anyamstu gopayet sarpagrasto yatha param. Kala karma gunadhino deho yam pancha bhautikaha katham anyastu gopaye sarpagrasto yatha param. Nobody is in temple hall, you can chant online on Zoom.
Yam Panchabhaka Katam Manyas to Gopayat Sarpagrashtu Yatauparam.
Kala karma gunadhino dihoyam pancha bhautikaha katam anyayam stu gopayet sarpagrasto yata param.
Kala karma gunadino dehoyam panchabautika katam nanyam stugupayat sarpagrasto yataparam.
Anyone else? Kala, eternal time. Karma, action. Guna, modes of nature. Adhinaha, under the control of. Dehaha, material body and mind. Ayam, this. Pancha bhautikaha, made of the 5 elements. Katham, how. Anyan, others. To, but. Gopaye, give protection. Sarpagrastaha, one who is bitten by the snake. Yatha, as much as. Param, others. Translation. This gross material body, made of 5 elements, is already under the control of eternal time, kala, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it, being already in the jaws of a serpent, protect others? Please repeat. This gross material body made of 5 elements
This gross material body made of 5 elements
is already under the control of eternal time, Kala,
is already under the control of eternal time, Kala,
action, karma,
action, karma,
and the modes of material nature, guna.
and the modes of material nature, guna.
How then can it be,
How then can it be,
being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The world's movements for freedom through political, economic, social, and cultural propaganda can do no benefit to anyone, for they are controlled by superior power. A conditioned living being is under the full control of material nature, represented by eternal time and activities under the dictation of different modes of nature. There are 3 material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Unless one is situated in the mode of goodness, one cannot see things as they are. The passionate and ignorant cannot even see things as they are. Therefore, a person who is passionate and ignorant cannot direct his activities on the right path. Only the man in the quality of goodness can help to a certain extent. Most persons are passionate and ignorant, and therefore their plans and projects can hardly do any good to others. Above the modes of nature is eternal time, which is called Kala because it changes the shape of everything in the material world. Even if we are able to do something temporarily beneficial, time will see that good project is frustrated in course of time. The only thing possible to be done is to get rid of the eternal time, Kala, which is compared to Kala Sarpa, or the cobra snake, whose bite is always lethal. No one can be saved from the bite of the cobra. The best remedy for getting out of the clutches of the cobra like Kala or its integrity, the modes of nature, is Bhakti Yoga. As it is recommended in Bhagavad Gita 14.26, the highest perfectional project of philanthropic activities is to engage everyone in the act of preaching Bhakti Yoga all over the world because that alone can save the people from the control of Maya or the material nature represented by Kala, Karma, and Guna as described above. The Bhagavad Gita 14.26 confirm this definitely. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langayate girim Vikrpatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinadarinam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Paramananda Madhavam Hare Krishna. So as we are continuing our reading of this particular chapter, Dhritarashtra its home. So for this particular verse, it's quite a famous verse. Kala karma gunadhino deho yam pancha bhautika katham anyamstu gopayet sarpagrasto yatha param. This is one of the most quoted verse, one of the quotes, like Prabhupada quotes this verse many times in his conversations, and also you'll find in one quotes. And this has a connection with the previous verse as well. Like Prabhupada himself, he's writing in his purport, you see the last line, one who should discharge his duties only for no one but the Supreme Lord can give protection to anyone else. This is explained more clearly in the following verse. So in the following verse, Prabhupada in previous purport itself is telling, in the next verse, Narad Muni is going to tell like how only the Supreme Lord can give full protection to anyone else. So if you understand this particular verse, it has various components in it. It's almost 5 to 6 major components. First is Kala, Karma. Second is Karma. Third is Guna. Then Deho. And then Pancha Bhautika. So these are the 5 different elements. First is like Kala is the time. Karma is like the actions, the karma. The Guna, the 3 modes of material nature. Deho means this body. And Pancha Bhautika, like the 5 different elements which are existing in this world. So if we see how a living entity or the jiva, the soul, is actually already trapped in these things, in this material world, first by kala, by the time, even if we don't want, if we want to act, or if we want to don't act, or whatever, even if we are just sitting, the time is consuming everything. The time is changing constantly. It is never a time then where you can tell the exact time. If I ask you like what is the exact time right now, if I say 8:24, like say 30 seconds. If I ask that like 30 seconds, it is like it will be 31, 32, 33. It's constantly changing. Similarly, the body, or at least in this material world, the time is constantly changing things. Constantly the things are changed because by the influence of kala, by influence of time. So we don't have any control at all on time. Even if we destroy all these clocks and everything, it's not like the time is bound by the clocks. Even if the clocks are not there, the time is still going to act. It's just an instrument to measure it or something, like to have a common framework so that like we have a common reference to refer to. But even if we destroy these instruments, it doesn't stop the time. The time is constantly have influence on all the living entities in this material world. Similarly, in the spiritual world, of course, it's timeless, but it doesn't have its destroying effect in the spiritual world. But in this material world, it has a, a different influence over all the entities, all the materials, everything which is there in this material creation. So we cannot control the time, the first factor which is mentioned in this word. Second word is karma. Because of the karma which we have done in the past, and karma, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, of course, he gives a different, not different, but a specific understanding of these particular three terms. He says that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the time is the general cause that we take this birth, or the general cause of this material creation. Karma is the cause of birth. Because of the karma, because we have to maybe enjoy the karma or like to suffer for the karma, that is the primary cause of the birth. And the third is guna, indicates the material cause. So there are like different influences that we will discuss later on. But karma is the cause of birth. It is because of the karma that the human body is formed, or like because based on our previous karma, we got this human form of life, and then we are practicing. Not only human form of life, in any entity which is having a material body here in this material world, it is because of the karma, either good karma or bad karma. It, and when I'm talking to material world, it's just not the Bhuloka. It could be like the higher planetary system. It could be Devas. It could be even Lord Brahma. To that extent, everybody is having a material. Anybody who is in this material world and having a material body is because of either they are enjoying the good karmas, or they are suffering for their karmas, or the mix of both. So in any existence, the existence of material body is because of the karma. And we don't have any much influence on the karma itself. So we don't have any influence on the kala, we don't have any influence on the karma. We cannot control karma. Of course, we can rectify it, we can perform certain karma right now, but whatever the body that we have got because of the karmas, that we cannot influence, that we cannot change immediately. Of course, our future actions can decide, our present action can decide what could be our future karma, or like how we are depositing in that. But again, it is not totally in our control. The third word here is guna. The guna, the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, and Prabhupada stating that in the purport that most of the people are either in ignorance or in the mode of passion. But at least we should try to be in the mode of goodness and try to practice and ultimately come to the mode of Shuddha Sattva, or like the something which is beyond the three modes of material modes. So guna also we cannot directly have a control on. Like we can try to be in the mode of goodness, but eventually because the atmosphere is like that, or the association that we take, the mood of, or like the propensity of the body or to perform certain action, it depends on the mode in which that person is. So again, that person or that living entity is again influenced by the mode of ignorance or mode of passion or mode of goodness. So even in those stage, we don't have much control on doing certain things. It is quite natural for somebody who is in the Brahma Muhurat, it's quite natural for somebody to be inclined towards spiritual practices or to meditation or some other goodness activities, like somebody can be performing some mindfulness or some meditation or any other thing, or you don't want to hear something very passionate or very loud music or something. It's quite natural because of the mode of goodness. It's more prominent during that time, so it's quite natural to be in that goodness. Similarly, if you observe yourself towards the evening, or you might be engaged in certain activities during the day, working hard or like working very passionately for something, and it's quite natural because you are now tired, you are under the influence of tamoguna, or like the mode of ignorance towards the end of the day. You want to rest, or you want to do certain things which are not so much in the mode of goodness. Or even if you just observe you chanting in the morning, chanting in the Brahma Muhurta, and chanting in the night, it doesn't have, most of the time it doesn't have the same effect or the same intensity that we are chanting in the morning. But of course, spiritual activities in itself, it doesn't come under this mode of or like this gunas. But my point is, like, our mind is influenced by this, our concentration power, our body is influenced by this particular gunas. So accordingly, we have these tendencies, or like we have this propensities to act certain things according to the mode of the material nature. So even in that context or that atmosphere, the living entities doesn't have any much control over the gunas as well. We can create our environment, but it doesn't. We cannot just control it by 100% by ourselves. Similarly, the deha itself, like the body, living entities, which is covered in this deha, this particular body, it has like the two meanings, yam pancha bhautika, the body which is made out of the five elements, and we can also see there are five elements which is present outside the body, the material creation in itself, the bhumi, vayu, the air, the water, like the different five elements which are present. That is also influencing the body, the living entity, its tendencies, its propensities, its actions. So kala is influencing, the karma is influencing, the gunas are influencing. We are in this trapped in this material body, and we are in this gross material world, and still we are thinking that we are going to help, or we are going to do certain things, and we will be able to help somebody else. So that is the meaning, or like that is the point which Narad Muni is trying to say. Your condition is just like you are trapped. You are in a Katham Anyastu Gopayat Sarpagrasto. You are like Sarpagrasta. Sarpa means snake, and Grast like you are bitten by a snake, or Sarpagrasta can also mean that like you are caught by the snake. Just like the python, he traps his prey. So we are trapped in the serpent, or like just like the python, it traps its prey, and it doesn't leave. And slowly, slowly, the python eats that particular animal. And if you imagine some animal who is in like the 50%, the python has already eaten, and 50% that person is alive. And in that condition, that person is saying that I am going to help you. I am going to help the other animal, like who is free. So this is the similar situation which Narad Muni is describing. You are yourself trapped by this particular karma, kala, guna, deha, pancha, bhautika, and you are saying that you are thinking that you are going to help the other person. You yourself in that particular position, which you are you are your I mean you are in that particular pitiful condition, and you are thinking that I am the controller, and I am the one who is going to help the other person. So that's why Narada Muni is breaking that false understanding of Yudhishthir Maharaj. I mean, apparently the false understanding of Yudhishthir Maharaj, that he's the one who was maintaining Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and Vidura, and they're the one who were under the control or under the protection of Yudhishthir Maharaj. And he's the one who is helping them to get out of this. And if you see in the previous verses, there is like different remarks, like with Yudhishthir Maharaj, where is our uncle who is old and blind? So if we just see that person, somebody who cannot see, if that person is missing, how difficult for that person to come back, or to actually find that person, because he doesn't know where he's going. At the same time, his senses are dull because he's old, and he's not it doesn't have a proper discrimination at this point of time. So that's why he was worried. He's thinking that I'm the one who is the protector of this particular my elders, who were who cannot see properly, who were elderly. Imagine yourself in that Yudhishthira Maharaj situation, and his worry is genuine. Like he genuinely wants to protect them, genuinely wants to help them. But that's why Narad Muni is coming here and making that intervention, breaking that false understanding of Yudhishthira Maharaj, that you do not control anything. You do not have any control over others. You don't have any influence on others, because you yourself you yourself is trapped with these various forms, various gunas, and if not any other things, even if you can control your karma, you are doing all good karmas, you are trying to situate yourself in pure goodness, like you are keeping everything, you are taking care of your body perfectly, you are situated in a very peaceful state of mind, in very nice place, but still kala, you cannot escape kala, you cannot escape time. Time will slowly make its effect on everybody, irrespective of that particular position or like the state of mind or any influence that person has. Even the strongest of the men cannot defeat time in wrestling. Even if the most beautiful person cannot enchant time, cannot influence time. Even the most powerful person doesn't have any influence on time. Even the most wealthiest person, he cannot buy time. I mean, in some ways, yeah, people have this misconception that they are very efficient with utilizing their time, but what time is doing to them, they don't have any understanding. They might be very efficiently using the time, but it doesn't deny uh, the fact that the time is not having any influence on them. Their body is deteriorating. Their age span is reducing by every second, by every day, by every year. And elsewhere in Srimad Bhagwatam, also there are description, especially in the third canto, there are much more description about the various scales of time and how big the time is. But even in general, like just to understand this, Narad Muni again, there is a conversation between Narad Muni and he's giving interpretation of this time. Many times, devotees, when we are discussing about the birth and death and disease, old age, and different aspects of time, how time is destructing everything, is also saying, Narad Muni is also making a point there that sometimes even the over indulgence in discussing the topic of death is also not good, or even overindulgence in glorifying the birth is also not good. So both the aspects has to be balanced. Of course, we need to understand like how we take birth, how we die, what are the actions we need to perform, what is dharma, what is karma. We need to understand everything, but at the same time, we need to understand the higher purpose. It is not that like we should be consumed just by the thought like, or we should be in constantly fear that we are going to die soon, and we need to be in that, we need to constantly remind us that we can die any moment. Of course that is a fact, but we should not be consumed by that thought or by that concept of that, because for a yogi or somebody who is in the higher consciousness, for them it's just the destruction of one body and it will take to another body, or like it will go to another planet, and he eternally, if that person has the understanding of the soul, he will not be influenced by the changing of the body or the destruction of the body or by the birth, old age, disease. The person is the same, but it has evolved in his consciousness, and that's how it evolves. Even in Bhagavad Gita, out of these elements, even in Bhagavad Gita, have the five main themes illustrated in Bhagavad Gita. As we see, it has the concept of Ishvara, who is the Supreme Lord. It has the concept of Jiva, who is the living entity. It has a theme of Prakriti, the material nature. The fourth one is Kala, the eternal time, and fifth is the Karma, the activities. So even in this verse, we see that these major topics are covered. The first one, of course, how we should be dependent on the Supreme Lord. We need to understand like how we are trapped in this material body. Then there is Guna, that is about the Prakriti, basically about the material nature. That is also discussed in Bhagavad Gita. The fourth topic which is discussed in Bhagavad Gita is about the Kal, about the time. And the fifth topic is about the Karma, the activities. So even in this verse, so it's a constant theme which is going on, and we need to understand, of course, this concept. But at the same time, we need to understand, okay, this is our particular position as a jiva, as a living entity, and this is the supreme personality of the Godhead who actually controls everything, and how we can engage in His plan and execute those certain things or certain desire, which is the ultimate desire of the Supreme Lord. So that's why Narad Muni again emphasizing on this particular aspects of this philosophy and trying to tell Yudhishthir Maharaj that you are not the controller. Basically, you are not the controller. You are yourself. You are controlled, and everything which is happening, it's because of either Kala, the influence of time, which is ultimately Krishna, and ultimately everything which is happening is because of the will of Krishna. So he's making Yudhishthir Maharaj come to the platform of this particular understanding. And the body made of five elements is dependent on these. The body with the with these constituents is quickly subjected to destruction. This is what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti further elaborates on this particular points, and he is trying to emphasize that when there when there are these things in place, it has its own influence and how living entities always track. Even the time has different aspects. Like it has, of course, as a devotee, we understand that time is God. Or like even Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, the time I am. The time is God itself. So for devotees, the death comes as Krishna. But for others, Krishna comes as death. So we need to understand, like we need to transcend from that. We need to understand like who is Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what is time. But of course, the ultimate uh, understanding for devotees is that the death for them, death is like Krishna. We are going to, it's like we are going to meet Krishna soon. And for others who doesn't have understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or its own living entity or about the soul, understanding of the soul, for them Krishna comes as death, and he makes them realize this is the reality. This is what is going to happen to you. So the time in itself comes as a God, but the time is God for us. And then the next aspect of time is it's imperceptible. We don't understand like how it works. Even if we try to understand, we can analyze it. Of course, in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, it has given different aspects of time. It starts with like the various, the minuscule particle or like minuscule section of time, like the lover. There is an analysis like how many lover makes nimesha. One nimesha makes like how many. Then there is prahara. Like there are different aspects. Vega, Nimesha, Prahara. Then there is a Muhurata. So there is a description. It goes on increasing after like I think there are like eight prahars make a day, and then similarly there are pakshas. Then there are Krishna paksha and Shukla paksha, and then two paksha makes a month, and then 2 months makes a ritu, and then three ritus makes a I think three ritus makes a ayan. We say like Uttarayan and Dakshinayan. So there is Makar Sankranti coming soon. So it will be Uttarayan after that. So after this, there is a ritu, and then two ayan makes a year, like 1 year. And then there are description of how many years are there. And in Kali Yuga, there are like 4,32,000 years, and in Dwapara, there is 8,64,000 multiplied by 2 and multiplied by 3 in the Treta and multiplied by 4 in Satyuga. So like that, like it's a description, and then finally it says as okay, this one kalpa, this one yuga cycle, and that is just like some part of like 12 hours for Brahmaji, and then similarly the night, and then there are descriptions of that. So thousand, I think thousand kalpa yuga, thousand kalpa makes 12 hours, and then same is as thousand kalpas for the Brahmaji's night. Basically, the point is, even if to that extent there is description of time in Srimad Bhagavatam, it starts from nimisha or like a very small quantity, and it goes to like it doesn't mean that like Srimad Bhagavatam or the Vedic culture doesn't have the understanding of the time. It can, if you just want to, just from the analytical point of view, if you try to understand, it has a various description of the time. They understand time, but how time works, how it perishes, it is still imperceptible. That's the point. So time in itself, it is of course for our understanding, time is like God, but at the same time, time is imperceptible. At the same time, the time also creates fear. It creates for somebody who is having certain things, the time, it also creates fear because you have certain things, you need to maintain certain things. Even for our own selves, nobody wants to get old or like to get deceased or not to change their position, that comfortable position, which is going to eventually happen. But this is also one of the influences of time, that it also creates and destroys fear. And the fourth aspects of time, that it takes everything. Ultimately, it takes everything. At least in this material world, it takes everything. So even if we just to understand like the various aspects of the time, which is described by Narad Muni himself in the third canto, it discusses this four aspects of time and how time acts and how time is imperceptible. It is God itself. It is fear. It takes everything. So you can remember these things in a acronym of GIFT. Like God is a time G, I is it is imperceptible, T is sorry, F is the fear. It creates the fears as well, and the T it takes everything. So you can remember in that way if you want to remember the various aspects of the time. At the same time, there is like many names of Krishna, which gives like the different understanding, like how time, like Krishna is himself explaining Krishna as the time. Similar. Blessings of Vishnu and by the blessings of Vishnu, or by the blessings of Krishna. And this boy, then he goes back to Gurukul, and as soon as his guru sees this boy, very effulgent, very, very bright looking now, and then next day when he teaches everything, he could remember everything. He could recite all the shastras and everything. And then he asked, how did this happen? And then he narrates the whole story. And then his guru becomes very happy. Yes, it is because of the blessings of a great Vaishnava and the blessings of the Krishna directly by taking, because you have taken the dust on your forehead, your destiny has now changed by that. So for a devotee, the point is, for a devotee, even the destiny can be changed because Brahma creates the destiny for the living entities, but who created Brahma? Who created Brahma, or like how Brahma is created? It comes from Krishna, it comes from Vishnu. And then that's how somebody who has created the creator can change what the creator has created for us. So that's the understanding of this particular pastime. And there is also a great rishi that comes in Mahabharata. His name was Lomasha Rishi. Lomasha Rishi has this blessing, or like he has this boon that he would be living for like so many years. Like he has many hairs on his body, hair on his body, and the boon was like till the time all the hair are there on his body, till that time he will live. And one hair would fall after like one yuga cycle. By one yuga cycle, like when all the Kali Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Satyuga, when the one cycle completes, one hair fall. So that was his lifetime. Like he was living for so many years, so many kalpas he has seen, and he was living for so long. And during one conversation, like they actually meet, the Pandavas meet this Lomash Rishi, and then he gives this instruction because he was seeing the condition of Pandavas. Like you are the great devotees, Krishna is with you, you have all the good guidance, and you are pious people. Still, you are suffering. Why you are suffering? And like this is what they are thinking. The Bhima was very angry. The Arjuna was very restless about this fact. Like why we need to suffer. Arjuna, or sorry, Nakul and Sahadev, they are calculating maybe because of this time it's not a auspicious time for us. And Yudhishthir Maharaj is contemplating on this thought, like why this is happening for us. And in that instance, Lomasha Rishi says, like even when things seems unfair, just wait for some time. Time will reveal the full story. Justice might be sleeping, but justice never dies. This is the statement which is given by Lomash Rishi. And Lomash Rishi is not somebody who is just giving, or like he's hearing and giving that. He has realized that. He has lived for so many years. He has seen many kings. He has seen many dynasties. And that's why he's making his realization. He's giving that realization to Yudhishthir Maharaj and he's telling him, this is just wait for some time and everything changes. Even if we understand ourselves, something which was very important for us even 10 years back, something which we consider very important, something very, very crucial for ourselves. Now, if we look back and analyze, it may not be something very important thing for you right now. in something which you are considering very important right now, very critical right now, after 10 years, you might be laughing on that. Like how I was consumed by this thought and how it is affecting me in every aspects. So this is something which Lomash Rishi, somebody who has a very, very long life, still is making that particular comment and telling Yudhishthira Maharaj like how we should be very patient and wait for some time. The time will reveal the full story. And similarly, for a devotee, how to understand this? We need to pause and reflect. Even when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, it is just the time that we are passing. Whether we are chanting attentive rounds or inattentive rounds, the time required for the both are the same. For example, if you are chanting 16 inattentive rounds for 2 hours, like it will take approximately 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And if you are chanting attentive rounds, it will take maybe similar time, around 1.5 hours, 2 hours, or whatever time you are taking. So whether you do it inattentively or attentively, the time, the amount you are spending is the same. The time factor is the same. But what the result that you are reaping in that particular time is something which a devotee should be very cautious of. The quality, just not the quantity. Initially, of course, it's good to improve our quantity of activities and engagements and Krishna consciousness. But eventually, a devotee should reflect on how we are improving the quality of our devotional service, how we are improving the quality of our bhakti, how much present we are, how better our relationship is now with the devotees or with Krishna, how deeply we are, how better we are now understanding the Krishna consciousness philosophy or the Shastras, what exactly my spiritual master wants me to do. So these are the various aspects. As the time progresses, it's not just the time or just not the quantity, but the quality has to improve. It has to improve, it has to increase. And there are various devotees who practice this, like we need to pause, reflect. It's not just like we need to be busy in Krishna consciousness, but we should be absorbed in practicing Krishna consciousness. Whatever little activities, whatever we are doing, it should be with absorption. Similarly, today is, I think, the disappearance day of Lochan Das Thakur, one of the great Vaishnava acharyas who has written Chaitanya Mangal, one of the biographies of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in a poetic way. There are also various songs which is written by Srila Lochan Das Thakur, which is very famous. At the same time, Prabhupada used to sing that a lot. I think one time in Atlanta, Georgia, while seeing the deities of Gaur Nitai, Prabhupada, instead of chanting Jai Radha Madhav in the morning Srimad Bhagwatam, he started chanting Parama Karuna Pahudi Jana Nitai Gaurachandra. Just by seeing the deities of Gaur Nitai in Atlanta temple, Prabhupada started singing this. This is written by Lochan Das Thakur. And Akarodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. That is also very beautiful bhajan written by Lochan Das Thakur. And the last line of that particular bhajan is Ei Avtara Jena, basically Ei Avtara Jena Ei Pashu Ai Gelo or Gelo. So somebody who didn't understand the glory of this particular avatar is simply he has wasted his time by he has come and he has gone. Gelo, Ei Pashu Aila Gelo or Gelo. So this particular person, he came to this world, but he didn't have this good. He had the opportunity to understand about Gaur Chandra, about Nityananda, but he didn't utilize that opportunity. So for this particular Pashu, he's not even referring that particular person as a human being, but as an animal, and he has just wasted his life. He has just come and he has just left. So today we should beg to these particular Vaishnavas who have utilized their time in every positive aspects of Krishna consciousness. We should take their blessings and try to follow in their footsteps with much more absorption. Every day we should contemplate like how closer we have come to Krishna, how we can better our quality of Krishna consciousness and how we can practice this particular Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions,
I have a small comment on your many remarks.